the Vesta Securitization Podcast with Stefan Wagner, unlocking investment innovation. Vesta's end-to-end platform enables securitization providers and investment managers to streamline the life cycle of dynamic investment solutions, ensuring better results for their clients and their operations.
Hello and welcome. In this series, we explore the cutting edge of investment innovation. I sit down with leading asset managers who use securitization vehicles to execute their unique investment strategy.
The link between the AMC on one side and the structured product offering on the other side is made very easily because the way we operate, we are agile due to our size, and we are capable of making sure that equity derivatives and the AMC world work together.
The information in this presentation is for informational purposes only and does not constitute an offer, solicitation, or recommendation to buy or sell any financial products. It is not intended as investment, legal, tax, or accounting advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified professional regarding your investments.
Good morning, everybody. I'm here to record the next Vesta Securitization podcast, and I'm very excited. It's a long time coming. I got Romuald Orange. He is the global head of proprietary client interfaces at Indices. We've known each other for quite a while, and we're going to try to talk about their AMC business, the actively managed certificate business. Thank you, Romuald, for joining me today.
Thank you, Stefan, for having me.
Let's jump right in. How does Indices, the investment bank, position its actively managed certificate business and its capabilities, and what is sort of your core USP for issuers and the managers of AMCs?
Let's start with history. I quite like history, actually. So we have Natixis CIB has a long history in the AMC space. It's something that we've been developing over the last more than 10 years, actually probably 12 years when we started. It's not as old as the first AMCs, but it starts to be something significant in that business. And so since then, we have constantly worked on enhancing the product offering by adding new underlyings or new payoff or new features. It's been a long journey to come to something which is at market standard, but I would even say it's above market standard, to my opinion, what we do at the moment. From an issuer perspective, Natixis CIB is a bank with a strong credit rating, which is single A, and this allows clients to operate in a safe credit environment. And what characterizes would be flexibility. I think that's where we try to dissociate from the others. We have certainly a more tailored approach to client requests.
Is there maybe an example you can share that was a very tailored approach for a client?
Yeah, there are a couple actually, but the last one in mind is onboarding distressed bonds into an AMC.
Wow. Oh.
And that's the very last. And it comes with a lot of haute couture, actually, as regards to managing the just managing the corporate actions. That's not the easiest one. Yeah.
I can imagine. That's sort of leads me to my next question. How do you manage all these life cycle events? One, you need to onboard the distressed bonds, you need to get the data, but there's a lot of, daily things that need to happen, and obviously secondary market making. How do you determine what the correct NAV for things like this is? I'm sure there's certain challenges that you face.
Well, it's a very broad question, Stefan, as you know. Let's say on the onboarding side, we start with defining the target markets that the advisor is looking to enter. The process is usually that as we walk through the onboarding parameter, we also discuss the different features of the product. Once everything is agreed, we look at the product itself. And as regards to the product, then comes the actual life cycle of the product. So issuance is fully automated on our side, and comes the life of the AMC with its to me, one of the main features, which is the rebalancing element and the active component of the AMC, which is the exciting part of it, and that is executed on a platform, and that platform is something that we have outsourced a couple of years ago. We are using Vester. It's no secret, yeah, as I said, we took this decision a couple of years ago, and our approach was, okay, where is the value, and where can we put our efforts from Natixis CIB standpoint, and where can we leverage on what has been done by the fintech world. And the value that we bring is on offering additional payoff, additional underlyings. So that's a very long answer to a short question, actually.
It's often when I say this to clients from our side, when we try to, I say always, getting your NAV correct, or the investment rules checked and everything else is not a USP, it's an MVP. Your USP on top of it is exactly what you just described, your tailored approach, what access you give, maybe leverage, or what you are, but not that the NAV that you're calculating is correct. That is a minimum given, basically. And also the other comment I wanted to make, you said, probably 10 to 12 years in the AMC business. I think the longest outstanding AMC that we manage on the platform is 15 years. You're clearly one of the earlier ones, I can tell you that one. Thank you. When it comes to sort of AMCs, we talked about it, but it stands for Actively Managed Certificate. Is there also other actively managed products that you're seeing coming on that you're managing out of this?
Yeah, that's you are spot on, Stefan. It's the way. Maybe let me take just a very short step back. The way we look at the actively managed business is interesting at Natixis CIB. We look at it through the actively managed index angle. So for any AMC that we are launching, this is linked to an AMI, so actively managed index. Once we have said this, technically that means that if I'm capable of engineering an AMI, then I can easily plug it into a certificate format, but I can also fairly easily plug it into a swap format. So AMCs and now so-called AMS are starting to be very interconnected. I mean interconnected into the type of platform that the banks and the different issuers are using. So what we observe at the moment is the addition of the IMS feature to the old AMC product offering. So and it's something which is a bit different from a prime brokerage offering, because you could also consider that portfolio swaps into the prime brokerage world are a bit of an actively managed swap. But here, this is not what we're talking about. We are talking about actively managed indices in a swap format, such as custom baskets, for instance. That works well.
I see. And when you do this with the indices, I presume there's also your own QRS indices in there. They can become quite complex in a sense, which me sort of leads to the next thing. QRS are usually rule-based. Then you have actively managed swaps. Where does active stop and where does rule-based start, particularly when you potentially use AI-driven signals? Do you have any experience with that one, or how do you handle this?
Yeah, there are several layers of complexity into what you said. What we've done and what we are looking at is offering as well some QIS bricks into the AMC platform, but we are not looking to provide this as an actively managed QIS feature.
Excellent. So I can basically get access to a QIS strategy without having an ISTA with you in place. It's securitized in a node, I presume.
Yes, we are sorting the issue. And that's
I remember from my old days how long it took to negotiate an ISTA and getting a credit annex, and you basically lost the will to live.
No. Yeah. Well, you know this. You've been on that side. You know how long it takes to sign an ISTA for companies which don't have the bandwidth or the actual manpower, or don't want to spend a fortune in legal advisors. Then we have found a way to invest into about 20 QI strategies that are now available on the platform. And this is done in a fully funded format.
I mean, AMC is all that vehicle in a sense, is very flexible and what you can put in it. Which sort of, do you see some other, things that coming into it, maybe more derivatives, cap option overlays, or harvesting carry? What do you see sort of, what else is being put or wrapped or securitized in an AMC?
The basics, I would say, like the hedging overlay, as you said, that's a typical one that you can find fairly easily. So Forex exchange is something that is available. We see lots of demand on the option side as well, and that comes as I wouldn't say a basic offering because we are far from this, but the requests are coming often and often. So that's clearly a trend, and we try to match as much as we can with our structured product offering. Here again, the link between the two worlds, so the AMC on one side and the structured product on the offering on the other side, is made very easily because the way we operate at Natixis CIB, we are agile and due to our size, we are capable of making sure that equity derivatives and the AMC world work together. So that's something which is made easy on our side as well.
When people come to you and want to launch an AMC with you as an issuer, what are sort of the most common pitfalls you see in the first time AMC launches by some like that? And how can you guide them in a sense?
I would say most of the time, the queries are too complex. So when you start explaining what AMC can do, you get a lot of traction, and the flip side of this is that because you've said everything is feasible in an AMC, more or less, you get requests which are, okay, can you do this in that color with this and that feature, and okay, well, if you want to start, I would recommend to start with something which is fairly simple, and get accustomed to it, because there is a bit of an adoption. You need to, you need to get familiar to how AMCs work. You need to get used to the platform, to the rebalancing elements, getting your NAV, as you said earlier on, using the tailor-made reporting features which are available, and that's a key element also of what we are offering, thanks to thanks to the partnership with Vester. I'm totally fan of the reporting side, and it's something which is extremely well done, and which is totally So first, white label for the clients, and second, extremely easy to use. And as I said, totally customizable. I don't like the word, but it's you can really, tailor. To get back to your question, okay, you want to get into an MC, and well, let's start with something not fully vanilla, but something which is easy, and then once you get a bit accustomed from a customer standpoint, we can expand the complexity of what we are going to do into it. And usually, people come with some funky strategies they want to do. At the end of the day, thanks to our trading team, they analyze the request and they say, why don't you hedge this using that type of underlyings instead of that complex stuff that you wanted to do, and that is not going to bring any alpha but only cost. So this is the typical interaction when we are talking about where do we add value. I think we add more value in those discussions with the clients than on trying to develop something which is already available in the streets. But
so the old rule, KISS, keep it simple when you start with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you sort of expect the trend to be for the next 12 to 24 months? We've seen clearly incredible growth in this market over the last 6-7 years in AUMs and new products, but that's AUM. What do you expect to happen around it or inside the AMC?
What we observe is an increased amount of complexity or variety. Let's call it more variety of underlyings that we are looking to trade into the EMC format. And I'm using variety because something complex for me might not be complex for someone else in the street in terms of accessing the markets. So we see a lot more requests in terms of multi-asset AMCs. And as regards to what's coming next, we see a lot of requests on the structured products world. Here, I mean, offering AMCs including structured products, and it's going to be the next trend for sure. From a product perspective, as when we say, okay, what is going to happen to the AMC community, lots probably coming from direct APIs, interacting with the advisor or the portfolio manager. Not necessarily through the platform, not necessarily through the GUI, but directly in an API format. That's the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen this definitely across all our clients. There's more increase, I think, in multi-asset AMCs. I think it's a little bit of a reflection also what the market is doing. It's not so as correlated anymore. So the active element of the AMC the active management can actually add more value now, potentially generate alpha. And definitely the connectivity, everybody, more and more people are asking for that one. Can we just use the API to send trades and everything else? And it's definitely a trend. Now, I would like, if it's okay with you, to ask you, Romuald himself, a few personal questions. You have been in this industry now for a while. You've seen a lot. Maybe it's something you can share. Maybe you can talk a little bit about sort of what drives you and maybe tell us something interesting about yourself that most people actually don't know.
Well, if most people don't know, I'll keep it secret for another long time. But what drives me, I think, two things. From a professional stance, I think one element has been honesty and trust. And the phrase or the "my word is my bond" is definitely something I adhere to. I've always been, and I've always tried to be someone you can trust and with whom you are going to build long-term relationships in terms of business and professional. Our personal stance, but not too far away, is I like to make sure that the brain and the body work together. So I try to find that perfect mix of being in good shape helps you to be efficient in your work as well. I see a lot of benefit from this.
Thank you for sharing. Next one is what is your definition of success? This can be in business, but also in your private life. Can span both. Doesn't matter.
That's a difficult one. That's a difficult one because I think that the definition of success is a moving target. Younger, I would have answered probably that the definition of success was very material in terms of, I've achieved that German sport car, I've achieved that's, I think now I value time as being the real success, and time is the real luxury. Being capable of managing your time is success, and that's very difficult.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, as you said, time is the real luxury. I thank you for sharing. Last question then for you is, what is your favorite finance book? I mean, one or two, but yeah.
Favorite finance book. There's one which I recommend. It's called Manias, Panics, and Crashes from Charles Kindleberger, who's a US economist and historian. Very interesting about all the different crises and bubbles around the financial markets. Let's call it the Bible of bubbles and crashes. And I'm currently reading another one, which is written by Scott Sturm, a professional from the repo market. And the title is The Repo Market Shorts, Shortage, and Squeezes. You'll see that my appetite on finance books is very much axed towards arbitrage.
It sounds like you're worried for a market correction, or there's a bubble in the market, or how to spot it in time.
Yeah, not at all, because I've been reading these for a long time, so not correlated to any current or to come bubbles.
And if somebody would like to get hold of you, what's the best way to contact you?
You can contact me through LinkedIn, and I'm also available, of course, through my professional email, romuald.orange@netexist.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Romuald, for taking the time.
Thank you, Stefan.
The Vesta Securitization Podcast with Stefan Wagner, unlocking investment innovation. Vesta's end-to-end platform enables securitization providers and investment managers to streamline the life cycle of dynamic investment solutions, ensuring better results for their clients and their operations.
The information in this presentation is for informational purposes only and does not constitute an offer, solicitation, or recommendation to buy or sell any financial products. It is not intended as investment, legal, tax, or accounting advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified professional regarding your investments.